Good morning. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy that Maria has mentioned how Google and Meta and the likes innovate with startups. And this is something that I'd like to talk about today. So as a previous startup founder, I'm very much thankful to Ocean Armada, who brought Plug and Play, and actually Plug and Play was one of my investors as well, the Plug and Play USA, and now I'm the director of Plug and Play Lithuania, making some of the investments here, and also very happy to see Spotgo, who's already been accelerated by Plug and Play, being in the stand in the back. So, sorry, missed my remote. So let's talk about the Plug and Play. And the story about Plug and Play starts actually by its founder coming from Iran and buying some commercial property. So he just came there and bought some property in California and rented it out to some of the startups at that time. And those startups today are one of the biggest tech giants in the world. So we're talking about Google, PayPal, we're talking about Logitech and Dropbox. So he not only invested in them, but he also mentored them, and he started what we call acceleration and investment. Soon, a lot of the corporates also joined that platform and started learning on how to actually innovate together with startups. And today, we actually see that corporates actually invest more than all the VCs in the world. So today, we have around 250 investments per year as Plug and Play. We have around 70 programs in over 60 different locations globally, accelerating around 2,500 startups per year, with a corporate network that is more than 500. So the scale, and that is sort of the message that I usually tell to people when we talk about Plug and Play, is how do we bring the world here to Lithuania, and how we take Lithuania to the world, and how do we use Plug and Play as a platform to enable that. So I'll focus on the mobility sector today and what we're doing in mobility. But there are over 20 verticals, essentially, and some of those verticals obviously overlap. So we're like around 700 people in the world, and all we do is invest in startups, work with startups, and work with corporates to tell them how to work with startups, essentially. Our mobility program, so let's talk about that. So we started in 2016. We have around 100 corporate partners. We have around 750 startups accelerated. And we run that in 9 locations. Key locations being Stuttgart, with our founding partner, who's Mercedes. And they're focusing on these kind of areas. So we have 2 programs at the moment. So one is mobility. We started with Mercedes, and then we also focusing on heavy duty, which is trucking and fleet management and logistics, and sort of extending to agriculture and other things that are to do with heavy duty things. These are the focus areas, essentially. So one of the key focus areas, obviously, is electric and hydrogen, and how do we make that efficient? How do we essentially make that usable? How do we get the range that we need? How do we get the infrastructure that we need to run sustainably, basically? The other thing, obviously, is autonomous driving. So that is a huge focus area. How do we have the technology? How do we have the sensing technology that is needed? How do we have the data that is needed to actually run the car autonomously? Today, by the way, we have a robo-taxi event, so I'm very happy that you did not get the invitation. I didn't get either. But a robo-taxi event by Tesla is happening today, so I'm looking for the news in how we can actually run those cars fully autonomously. The next thing, obviously, is digitization and new services. So when the cars are autonomous, what do we do to make people more productive, people more healthy in the car, people more entertained in the car? And how do we help them drive safely? What are sort of the driving assistance features that we can offer? So a lot of the focus is on the human-machine interface, and how do we interact with the car, how do we trust the car, and how do we work and play in the car. And obviously, a lot of the things are overlapping. So we're talking about tracking carbon, we're talking about making sure that the car is sustainable and making sure that we can produce the results and show the results that actually driving a sustainable car is actually sustainable. So throughout the supply chain, we should have the good numbers actually to make sure that we're doing the right thing. So it can't be that it takes more carbon to produce a battery, essentially, but then we're driving, off in a sustainable way. So some of the deal flows that we are working on. So this year, I took some of the examples from Porsche and Mercedes, essentially, who are in our Autobahn program. So we have a blockchain solution to track CO2 data. We have a lot of recycling of batteries. So what do we do after they run out of juice, let's say, in Teslas and other electric cars? How do we reuse them? And one of the examples is a Mercedes-Benz Lithuania factory. And then how do we essentially design those batteries, and how do we make them more efficient, and how do we use the system and solutions to improve the health and the efficiency of those batteries? So this is a snippet of our investments, essentially in the last years. So a lot of this is focusing around last mile delivery and manufacturing, robotics, warehousing, but also sustainability, cloud, blockchain, and trucking. So here are some of the crossroads that I always say that when we talk about transportation mobility, we're always talking about sustainability, we're always talking about the supply chain, but we also talk about the retail, and a lot of partners and startups actually mix and match in different programs to come up with solutions not only for the transportation sector, but energy sector as well, and as well as retail and supply chain. So here are some of the focus areas and topics. They're kind of like repeating, and we do a lot of the trends, essentially, analysis, reports for our corporates to help them to understand what is the coming technology, where they should invest today, and what are the main startups in the area that can solve their problem statement. So that is one of the greatest, actually, examples of how corporate innovation is done. And we're super proud of Mercedes being the founding partner of Stuttgart Autobahn. And it's, for me, one of the greatest set of events happening throughout the year. But also, it's one of the most inspiring stories how corporates actually innovate together with startups. So here are some of the numbers. So 550 pilots created with 29 partners, and around 300 commercial deals. So I like to show a bit of a video to just have a feeling on that.
Powered by Plug and Play, bringing you the best of mobility innovation.
Today I learned that we have brought to Stuttgart close to 400 startups. And these 400 startups have done more than 500 pilots. So there is a startup that have done 3 pilots with large organizations like Mercedes, Porsche, Bosch.
A day like this with Startup Autobahn Expo Day, it can't be even a better place for seeing that all these companies and communities can get together and create this magic moment of growth together with all of us.
I think startups are essential for the future of technology because there's no other way to explore new things, to generate new ideas. If we want to do this just out of corporates, there's just no chance.
With our company, Scilab, we were able to build strong partnerships with corporates, with really cool companies, especially with Webasto and Porsche, and this is what we presented today.
We are really happy to be an anchor partner at Startup Autobahn powered by Plug and Play because that helps us to speed up the search and the monitoring for new partners, startups, with new technologies.
Germany and the German auto industry could use startups way more. I want to encourage really everybody to go full speed ahead, and I think this day here fits very well. We have all the ingredients. Let's do it together with startups.
For startups and corporates that are not yet part of Startup Autobahn and Plug and Play, I would definitely recommend them join the open innovation ecosystem because it's a great way to work together with other companies in the same industry on your strategic innovation areas.
Here at the Startup Autobahn, powered by Plug and Play, that's an amazing opportunity to interact, to find the right partners for AI and many other solutions.
The biggest advantages of partnering with Plug and Play and Startup Autobahn is that you really open the doors to a global startup ecosystem.
Startup Autobahn is very important for us in the future because the evolution of the mobility market is one of our major focus.
On this Autobahn, you don't get stuck in traffic jams. This Autobahn gets you to your destination quickly.
And it's all about the relationships that you build. And it's all about the conversations that you have. It's all about challenging with positive intent to get a deeper understanding as to the perspectives that we're trying to solve for.
Startup Autobahn, as an important partner, give us a source for innovation for Mercedes-Benz, and we can have in the early stage new technologies from startups, and they can help us also in a very highly dynamic environment in a competitive market.
Plug and Play Startup Autobahn has been incredible at helping us connect with big corporate partners, but not just connect, is driving an internal sponsor. Often working with these corporates, it's easy to get lost, but the Startup Autobahn has enabled us to have an internal sponsor that ensures the project gets completed.
If you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together. That's what we do here.
The 30+ projects we witnessed here today are great examples of Plug and Play's ultimate objectives of helping our partners how to work with high-tech startups in order to get bottom-line success with the best and biggest innovation platform in the world.
So I can only hope that it inspires you to work with startups, and it's not easy to work with startups. So knowing how to work with startups is difficult, and as a corporate, it can be seen as a waste of time. And they're not ready, they don't know how to scale this, we don't know how to take it internally, and there are multiple questions that need to be addressed. But by being close to startups, by actually talking to them, and by trying something with them, we learn tenfold more than by doing anything ourselves. So that's one of the key messages that we have as a story in Plug and Play. So that's sort of the numbers for the program in Stuttgart. So my mission, obviously, is to help bring some of those startups to Lithuania, but also help take some of the startups in Lithuania to the world so that we can do more pilots with more corporates. So just some focus areas for Mercedes-Benz. So this year. I encourage you to just type in Startup Autobahn by Plug and Play, and there's a huge website. You can listen to all the presentations and pilot presentations, what actually those startups are doing together with those corporates. And these are just some of the examples. One in Hydro, which is helping to deal with the vibrations when we're producing new cars, so putting all the sensors, using edge computing. This is then talking about phonic vibes this year, which is helping to reduce noise in the car using new materials, and Ventus, which is helping to take the data of the weather and basically estimate the range of the electric vehicle 20% better. So Mercedes is focusing very much today on automated and assisted driving, electric vehicles, of course, but a lot of the innovations today are about infotainment, about content in the car, about how do we talk to the car, about how can the car assist you in your work about how can the car assist you to be more productive and healthier. So I encourage you to come to one of our Expo events, which is on the 18th of November this year, where you can meet all the startups that we are accelerating in Lithuania. And come talk to me when you have time, today or later, about innovation and about your company. Perhaps there's a way we can help you and get in touch with those startups and do something with those startups. Thank you.